In April, the Strait of Hormuz closed, wiping 14.4 million daily barrels of oil from the global market. Despite this historic supply shock, the global economy has not yet buckled. Looking around the developed world, everyday life continues much as it did before. Brent crude remains near $109, and airfares are rising, but we see no gas lines and no grounded fleets. While the public waits for a return to normalcy, the International Energy Agency is tracking an unprecedented depletion of oil inventories. They see a tipping point approaching within weeks. We have not avoided the crisis, we have simply delayed it using an invisible buffer. Mathematically, that buffer expires in the first week of June. Replacing 14 million barrels of missing Middle Eastern oil requires leaning on the world's vast industrial storage networks. Governments are currently using their primary emergency tool, releasing 400 million barrels from strategic reserves, injecting 2.3 million barrels into the market every day. Refineries are also bridging the gap by burning through their own on-site stocks rather than buying new, high-priced crude from a tightened market. This relief is bolstered by shifting global trade, with the U.S. increasing exports while China draws significantly less from the global pool. This balance sheet measures emergency injections against the total loss. Even with every measure active, we are consuming 6 million more barrels daily than produced. A system running a permanent deficit on finite savings is mathematically guaranteed to break. The emergency reserves holding the economy together are finite, and the tanks are rapidly becoming empty. The extra oil that was already in transit when the war began has now been delivered and entirely consumed, removing another layer of the market's protection. Strategic reserves are now hitting a threshold. Having drained 1/3 of their stocks, governments will soon halt these releases to protect national security. Why aren't the 3 billion commercial barrels fully accessible? Massive volumes are physically locked in tanks and pipelines to maintain system pressure. Because of this trapped oil, actual market supply hits a terminal breaking point by early June. The current stability of the global economy is priced on an illusion that physically ceases to exist in a matter of weeks. When the global inventory hits rock bottom, the psychological bias breaks, and reserves hit a terminal, physical breaking point. Analysts predict a shift into international panic buying and hoarding, potentially driving the price of Brent crude toward $150 a barrel. Shortages will be most acute in refined products. Jet fuel inventories are already falling so rapidly that airlines are facing supply lows not seen in 5 years. Europe is particularly vulnerable. Critical diesel stocks have plummeted below their 5-year averages, creating an immediate scarcity for the transport sector. Diesel scarcity ripples far beyond shipping costs, creating a compounding crisis that threatens to halt regional farming and factory production entirely. These macroeconomic shifts will soon define the everyday reality of civilian life. Developing economies will likely see the first breaks, as the heavy subsidies used to shield consumers from high prices become financially impossible to sustain. Wealthy nations will have to pivot as well, abandoning fuel tax cuts in favor of robust conservation steps like mandated remote work and forced shifts toward public transit. The era of ignoring where our power comes from is over. The world must now adapt to living within abruptly limited energy means.